Hello, St. Mary's. Today is Crazy Hair Day, but I'm sure you figured that out based on my somewhat crazy do. A little different than the usual bob I wear every day. So, I'm hoping and I'm seeing all of you with crazy hair today too. So, in honor of Crazy Hair Day, does anyone care to guess what our story is? Oh, you guys are so smart. It is Crazy Hair Day, written and illustrated by Barney Salzberg. So, we're going to begin. Stanley Birnbaum woke up early. Bald Eagle Elementary School was celebrating Crazy Hair Day, and Stanley couldn't wait. They had celebrated Pajama Day and Twin Day and 60 Day. Stanley's favorite was Twin Day because he and his best friend Larry Finchfeather had worn exactly the same thing. Stanley was ready. He had rubber bands, he had styling gel, and to make his hair perfect, Stanley had 2 cans of Halloween hairspray. Stanley's mother knew just what to do. She wrapped, she dipped, and to make his hair perfect, she sprayed Stanley's hair bright orange and blue. Ta-da! Said Stanley. I am a work of art. You are going to be late if you don't hurry, said his mother. Stanley rolled his rubber bands in his hair and he gently tapped the top of his spikes. This, he said, is going to be a day I will never forget. I bet Larry Finchfeather and I will have the craziest hair in the whole school, Stanley thought. And he walked towards the classroom. He heard his teacher talking. And remember, said Mr. Winger, Crazy Hair Day is next Friday. Everyone stopped. Everyone stared. Stanley felt sick. Larry Finchfeather said, is that a hairdo or a hair don't? And everybody laughed. Stanley ran to the bathroom. A few minutes later, Stanley heard someone come in. It's me, Larry Finchfeather. The Larry Finchfeather who just made fun of me in front of the whole class? Asked Stanley. I was only teasing, said Larry. Someday you tease too much, said Stanley. Mr. Winger said he wants you to try to be a peacemaker instead of a troublemaker, said Larry. I am supposed to bring you back to class. I am not going. If you say so. Here. Let me turn it so I can see it. If you stay in here, you'll miss being in the class picture. I thought that was next Friday, said Larry. Crazy Hair Day is next Friday, said Stanley. Today is school picture day. Stanley rolled the rubber bands in his hair and he gently tapped the top of his spikes. This, he said, is going to be a day that I will never forget. Larry Finchfeather suggested that Stanley try washing his hair in the sink. It won't help, said Stanley. Halloween hair color lasts for days. Well, it really doesn't matter. It's only your hair, Larry told him, and if you don't come out of here by the time math is over, I'm coming to get you, and you cannot stay in here all day. It was very quiet after Larry Finchfeather left, and Stanley wondered if maybe he could spend all day in the bathroom. He ate his lunch. He drew pictures. He even timed himself to see how fast he could flush all the toilets. 32 and a half seconds, he shouted, "A new world record by me, Stanley Birnbaum." Stanley counted up to 121, 122, 123 drops of water from a leaky faucet when Larry Finchfeather came back. Beep. Time's up. Let's go, Larry announced. Picture time. If I'm in it, I'll look like that class of weirdo, said Stanley. Remember 60s Day when Mr. Winger had the flu but came in anyway? Larry said, he said the day wouldn't be the same if we weren't all together. You have to come. I'll give you 5 minutes. Larry Finchfeather left, and Stanley Birnbaum thought about 60s Day, when Mr. Winger had taught them all those great old songs. And he remembered how on Pajama Day everyone in his class had worn PJs and slippers. And then Stanley imagined what his class picture would look like without him. He decided to go back to class. To keep from being nervous, Stanley made up a song. Crazy hair, how I wish it wasn't there. Stanley felt someone touch his shoulder. I was just coming to get you, said Larry Finchfeather. What if they laugh at me again, said Stanley. Everything will be fine, Larry whispered. I promise. Stanley stood in front of his class. Everyone stopped. Everyone stared. Stanley rolled the rubber bands on his hair and he gently tapped the top of his spikes. This, he said, is going to be a day I will never forget. And so, boys and girls, I look forward to seeing all of your crazy hair posted on the school's Facebook and or website page. Talk to Mom about doing it. Until then, have a good afternoon, and I look forward to tomorrow's story time. Goodbye.